Friendship, for example, is a real gift.
It's an insane world. In it there is one sanity, the loyalty of old friends.
You're the best friends anybody ever had.
Alone, bad, friend, good.
Bubba was my best good friend. I had to make sure that he was okay.
Friendship and family, these are the things that matter.
Can we just become best friends?
Yep.
Touch my friends again and I'll blind you. Thanks, Mike. You're my best friend here.
Lose one friend, lose all friends, lose yourself.
We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life.
That's what friends are for, right?
Friends? Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
If you're not over here in 15 minutes, you can find a new best friend. You've been saying that since the 5th grade.
Welcome to the I Am Your Friend podcast. I am your host, Aiden Licker. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our guest today is a very special friend of mine, been a friend for a long time, and I'm very happy to have her on. This is our friend, Abby. Hey,
Hello.
Abby.
Hi.
My sweet, sweet Abigail.
That's an unlocked memory.
Yeah, that was I feel like that was the thing I came up with early on. It's probably something I just said while I was probably speaking in an accent when we were drunk
Absolutely.
one time.
And it was always paired with a hug.
Yeah, well, you know.
My sweet, sweet Abigail.
Yeah, my sweet, sweet Abigail. Yeah, it sounds like something that, like, you know, you would write in a letter to like your loved one on war. You know,
maybe in another life. That's
my
what
sweet,
we were.
sweet Abigail.
Yeah.
My dearest. Yeah, I think that's where that originated from. So, Abby, you and I went to Fredonia together.
We sure did.
And we were in the same very close friend group, and we've been friends ever since. And it's been fire. But now you are living in New York City.
I am.
And you have started your own event planning business.
I sure have.
Which amazes me because I feel like, you know, New York is such a... Like, it's already tough to live there. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a good job locked down, like, the idea of leaving that and, like, starting your own business sounds so terrifying.
Yep.
And you did it, and it's been, like, I saw, what's your, let's plug your social media.
It's events.by Abigail.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. It's
Events
like events,
dot,
boom.
Yeah.
By Abigail.
Yeah. On Instagram. And I followed it, and you posted pictures from like some event recently, and I was like, yo, this is like legit as fuck.
Yeah.
Like real legit. So that's what you were doing before, right? Like,
yes.
Give me the whole story of how you got into event planning,
Yeah.
and then how you started your own.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, super excited to be here. We just had a wedding this weekend, actually. That's why I'm in
we can talk
Buffalo
about the
right
wedding
now.
if you want. Yeah.
Well, but I was thinking about it. I was talking to everybody. We're coming up on 10 years of friendship, which is crazy, which is unfathomable. I don't know. It hit me yesterday.
I mean, we were 2013 probably.
Yeah. So we're coming up on 10 years. It's 9 now. But yeah, I moved to New York in 2017. So like right after we graduated college, started working at a bar and I ended up like managing that bar, doing their events. And then after that, I went to corporate events for this startup company. And that's kind of where I fell in love with events. And I was doing like their brand awareness things. I was doing like happy hours for our clients, like all these different events. But as most of you know who work in corporate fucking sucks.
Absolutely.
It sucks.
Yep.
And like people pushed me to my edge multiple times. I was vocal about it. I would like have very transparent conversations with them about how it's just not sustainable how this environment is. And it was just fell to deaf ears. And so I just got fed up and I was like, fuck this. I can't do this. And I had made such great relationships with clients through that job and through vendors and stuff. And I just was like, I'm going to do my own thing. And that's why I was like, I'm just going to start my own event planning company. And it's been going really great. I don't understand why.
Well, hey, good for you. You don't have to understand why. But good for you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. But, you know, if you get pushed to your breaking point at some, you know, you got to just be like, and yeah, falling on, you're expressing your concerns, trying to do something about it. Eventually, there's nothing else you could do. And just be like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Yeah.
And New York in general is just filled with sharks. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I meant when I was talking about, like, it's already a tough city to live in.
Yeah.
The idea of starting your own business in New York, like, is like, holy fuck, that sounds tough. Like, when I think of, I have considered like starting my own business for stuff all the time. I mean, technically doing this is like my own, you know, I have some sort of like brand, right? With like, you know, my online personality or whatever, and like doing this and making video content and that kind of stuff. So like, but when I think about like actually like starting like a storefront or something, I envision it only like in Buffalo. You know what I mean? Where it's like this small city where it's kind of like a little bit easier. Like, every time I go to New York and I walk around and like see businesses open and stuff like that, I'm like, I can't even imagine starting in New York. Like, has to be like insane.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's difficult.
man.
I mean, I would love to eventually have my own event space, but that's a whole other monster.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're just working probably just from
my house.
Yeah.
I love working at like a coffee shop or a bar or something. So I do that a lot. I love that.
It sounds like a dream.
It's a dream.
I know.
I can wake. I mean, I do like structure, so I'll make sure I get up by like 9 o'clock.
That's my dream. You know what I mean? It's like, I would love to just be working for myself, but I would still like have myself on a strict schedule.
Exactly.
Like, I do want to get into like, hopefully like just be like freelance something or other. You know what I mean? Like,
you would thrive with that.
Don't even.
You would be so, yeah. It would be so healthy for you.
I
feel
know.
like
that's my
thing. Really would.
My thing right now is, you know, I work this 9-to-5 corporate job right now, and I did get to a point where I like got to my breaking point and was like, I fucking hate this so much. I want to get out of here. And then I just happened to have this opportunity within my company, but in a different part of it, fall in my lap. And I just went for it. And the director, who was my original manager, who now like the division that I'm in has been growing so much, he became the director of it, and he's the coolest guy. And he's so understanding, and like it's a job where like I can be creative, you know what I mean? Like I have a little like
leeway.
I have a lot of control over what my job is.
Yeah.
Like my day to day is really up to me.
Yeah.
There's no micromanaging happening. And I get results and everything, so it's good. And he lets me go on tour still and work from the road, and so it's like, it's hard to complain about it now, you know, but at the same time, there's still that piece of it that it's like, so the job is, I always say 9 to 5 because that's just is the easiest, but I actually work 8:30 to 5:30. And like the idea that it's just like, I have to be sitting at a computer from 8:30 to 5:30 every day is what kills me. Like as much as the job is good, and I feel dumb complaining about it because I have it so good. Like I have this good job, like it pays me well, like whatever. But yeah, I don't know. But there's still that piece of it that I just feel like I'm just still just because the puppet strings on me are a little bit looser, they're still there.
They're still there. I mean? That's the issue.
And that's like, I just don't think I'm ever gonna be fully happy unless I just am like in control of my, you know. And I'm just like, I'm creative. I'm driven. I'm good at networking and relationship managing. So it's just like, I just got to figure out what that is. You know what I mean? On the way here this morning, Gwyneth was driving me back here this morning, and I was like, just thinking about, I don't know, where she's driving on the 190 in Buffalo, and I'm just like staring out the window, you know, and she's just like, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, starting my own car detailing business. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. I detail my own car.
Yeah.
And just because I'm like, and it's literally just because I'm such a clean freak, you know, so it's like, I love my shit to be very clean and nice. I like tidy up my room, like I'm constantly dusting and like doing all this shit. So, and I just, on TikTok, I see these videos of like, you know, people detailing cars and stuff like that. And I'm like, it can't be that hard to like, or that much money to invest in the equipment you need to like actually do this, and just do it on the side for like friends and family and offer it, and then just like build from there. And then like have my full-time gig just be detailing cars and going on like something just simple that I can, but again, it's just, and the whole base of that is, it's not detailing cars I want to do. It's just like an easy way to get into just being my own boss, you know. So.
It's really like, you have to find something that you enjoy, that's like a hobby that you could make into a business, right? You know what I mean? That's what I did,
right?
And I love it. Like, I now love what I do, which is huge.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's huge.
And also for being 27, like in New York City, running your own business at 27 in New York City, like that's fucking amazing.
It feels so fucking good. Yeah, especially like, just honestly, and I have these moments very constantly. That sounded funny, but you know what I mean.
Who cares?
Where I'm just, my journey in New York City has been fucking hell. I love it though. New York City is, I saw the perfect meme about it. It was like, if you live in New York City, you basically have Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it beats you down, but you fall in love with it. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, it's weird to think about my whole like career journey to end up here feels really, really good.
I fucking love New York, man. And
you were supposed to move there.
I still think about it every day.
You've I think like a total of like 10 plus times you've been like, Abby, I'm moving next year.
Yeah. I was constantly.
When?
Yeah. I know. Well, dude, the thing is, rent right now in New York is that's really the whole thing. Is like
it's horrible.
I look into it and like I know people who live there, but it's like I don't know. Like I don't know how to find roommates. Like I don't know how to, because there's no way I'm going to be able to afford to live by myself.
No.
So I don't know, but
I mean, I would obviously help you with that.
Yeah.
And you know people, so
I haven't, thrown it. My problem is I just have this job right now. Dude, it is like probably once a month I'm on Indeed looking just for something to get me there.
Yeah.
I'm looking for fully remote jobs so I can, but what's is funny is like there's people who were living in New York City and then their job was fully remote and then they moved to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because
huge.
rent's cheap here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so it's
big
like,
in
am I
COVID,
dumb?
too.
And I typically am a person who like always does something like after it's like, like me moving, I would move to New York when everybody's leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when the rent is still sky high. Like that's the most Aiden move ever.
Yeah.
Is be like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
you moved here at the worst possible time. And it's like, well, I fucking like it here.
Yeah.
And
Right now would be the worst possible time.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying,
It's bad.
Yeah. But I mean, I would love to. I mean, and also like, I've gotten into, I've been doing comedy for the past 6 months or so, and I just absolutely fucking love it,
Yeah.
and I am like, I work from home. I, not all the time. I have to go in the office a couple days a week, but like, I'm working from home, whatever. And every night I am going to an open mic and but like
That's
New
huge.
York is like, that's like,
Yeah. You would
it's-
do the same thing.
that's
though.
what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
would just hit open mics every night.
So many
Yeah.
places. There's so many
Yeah.
places. If you ever visit, which you have yet to.
What do you mean? I've been there like 4 times in the past
You
year.
never tell me.
Well, it's usually because I'm on tour and just
Anyway,
am popping through.
I can give you like a list of places that you could perform at easily.
Yeah.
And it's just like good crowds, people our age, just like looking to watch comedy, people who are just starting. It's just a good
That's what I just every time I'm there,
Yeah.
like no matter what time of year it is, I can be like middle of summer
Yeah.
when everybody's like, fuck New York. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're there, everybody's like, God, I hate the subway. And I'm like, I love the subway.
I love the subway.
It is.
You can get anywhere in the city on $2.75.
Yeah. Last time I was there was $2. What up?
Really?
Yeah. It was $2 a couple years ago last time I was there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention anymore.
I mean, $2.75 is still amazing.
It's still amazing.
Yeah, man. I mean, what's super funny is the rehearsal dinner for the wedding Friday. We ended up going to Fatty after and having a couple beers. And I was like, Doug was supposed to drive me to Helium because I did a set at Helium that night. And I was like, and we were sitting there and Pat's like, dude, just hop on the train.
you did the train.
And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, I forget that we have a train.
Yeah.
And in Buffalo, because it's part of it's above ground and then
Yeah.
eventually goes underground. But when it's above, I don't know why this makes no sense to me, but when it's above ground, it's free. But
What?
underground, it's like $2. Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
I don't know. But when it's above ground, it's free. So,
Interesting.
which it's above ground from like that area, the theater district,
Yeah.
which is really where we were just before the theater district. And then to like where the arena is, which
Yeah.
is where Helium is. So, that whole part is free, but as soon as it goes underground is when you have to start paying, which is
And how did they track that?
I have no fucking idea. But I've only taken the train like twice.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's like, we have one rail line.
Yeah.
And it goes from the arena to UB South.
Yeah.
And it's just Main Street.
I think I've been on it before.
Yeah. But that was the whole thing. Like, I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is like Pat said that. And then I went and hopped on the train, took it down. And like, I get down there and I'm just like, why do we have this everywhere? It makes me so mad, dude.
Do you feel like Buffalo people would use it? Like, is there enough, like...
I mean, so here's what's
stuff to
hilarious,
do?
right?
Yeah.
Is I hopped on the train, right, going down there. There was literally, in that same area, this past weekend was Cobblestone Live, which is a music festival. So you would think the train would be like filled with people.
Yeah.
There was like 4 people on it. Then they were all going to Cobblestone and they were all hyped, but it was like they were the only people on the train.
I would use that all the time because you don't have to worry about driving and like, drinking and driving.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that was my whole concern because the set I did was like a comedy drinking game.
Yeah.
So it was like I knew I was going to be getting drunk. So it was like the idea that I just hopped on the fucking train.
Yeah.
And I was going to take it fully back.
Yeah.
But I ended up, my one friend who was a comic, like, was going the same way. So she just drove me back. But dude, I love good public transportation so much, and that's my favorite part of New York. And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why New York is the city it is all based on the foundation of having a good public transport system that can get you anywhere.
It's
when you
terrifying
have
to look
that.
at.
What do you mean, the map?
Yeah.
Well, what's sick is that I didn't go to New York for the first time until 2017.
Really?
Literally right after I graduated from Fredonia,
Yeah.
I went and visited. My cousins live there. It was the first time I had ever been there.
Oh, wow.
But at that time, Apple Maps, if you just type in where you're going and hit the train icon, it tells you exactly what trains you need to take. And that's it. And
still does it.
so it's like looking at that map is terrifying, but I don't need to look at it because it's literally right
Exactly.
on your phone.
Easiest way to get through places is just like get lost in New York.
Right.
Truly.
And you'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. It's the most
You ever
thrilling
hear
thing.
that John Mulaney joke about he's Home Alone, Lost in New York? He's like, lost in New York. He's like, the streets are numbered. Yeah. So good. It is. It's just such a functional city, and it makes me so mad that Buffalo's not like that. And there's part of me that's like, I go back and forth on this a lot because the thing, for some reason, my TikTok feed, and maybe this is a sign, but my TikTok algorithm like thinks I live in New York.
Really?
So like my feed is like a lot of people being like,
stalk in New York.
I love it. So but it's like, it gives me shit all the time about like, oh, New York, only New Yorkers know. And I'm like, yeah, only New Yorkers know. Yeah. Like, that's me. That's me.
I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, spiritually, that's me. Yeah. So
you would thrive in New York.
No,
you would.
I know.
You would. I mean,
I still like, I'm not giving up yet. But my thing is, when I see a lot of people, a lot of like New Yorkers complain about New York transplants all the time. And, but, and one of the things that actually stuck, which is like, whatever, like people are always going to be like that. But the thing that stuck with me is this one that I saw was like, you want to move to New York because it has a good public transport system, and it's got, and it's like a left-leaning city and like whatever and all this stuff. And it's like, so why don't you just stay where you are and just try to work to like make your city better?
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And I was like, but part of me is like, there's no hope for Buffalo.
There's not.
And it's like Buffalo.
There's not.
I had for a little bit, like, cause like obviously fuck the Pagulas, but like when the Pagulas came in, there was like this glimmer of hope that came into Buffalo that was like, okay, this like, billionaire fucking guy who made all his money on fracking came in. Yeah. But he bought the Bills and the Sabres and like was going to, and had, and built up Buffalo's canal side, like, built like those hotels that connect to which is called the Harbor Center, that they connect to the arena, and they have like ice rinks in there. So they host like tournaments, like hockey tournaments, and like made this like little, and then they had this 716 restaurant, which fucking sucked, but it was this cool location. Now it's Southern Tier Brewery, and I haven't been there yet, but I assume it's probably way better. And and they built up Canal Side, and it just seemed like there was just like this thing that was happening that was like, oh shit, like Buffalo might be on the up right now, like things might be getting really good here. And then the city just seemed to be doing better. A lot was going on in like Buffalo's west side seemed to be getting a lot better. And then when India Walton started running for mayor, she's like the progressive, like, Bernie Sanders endorsed her, like all this stuff. It was like, holy fuck, like this could be, I was like so stoked. I was like, I love Buffalo so much. I love that this is happening here. I love that, like, when she won the primary, it became this, she was on the front page of every news thing. Like Buffalo's about to have America's first socialist mayor of a major city in like 50 years. So it was like this big fucking thing that I was super stoked about. And then the most Buffalo thing happens, which is the fucking dude who's been mayor for 12 years and has done virtually nothing, who is just like in the pockets, or has the pockets. People are in his pockets. That's what I'm getting at here. The Buffalo Police Department, like the police union, and him are like tight, and then all the developers, right, who are the corporate developers who like own half the city, and it's just like they're this, which is like it's the most like, the moderate liberal way, this establishment Democrat, like the Joe Bidens of the world. He's the same guy, where it's just like he's just here with the rich billionaires that live in Buffalo that own half the city. Pagula, the police union, like, and obviously like Buffalo Police Department is like, has, you know, the Buffalo Police Department has made like headlining news.
Yeah.
Like
a couple times.
So many times. Like over the past like 4 years, it's been like 12 times that they've been made like front page of like the New York Times. Like it's like, dude, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And like, so, but that's the whole thing is then, you know, Byron Brown, who he's, you know, been the mayor for 12 years, done nothing, whatever. He starts this whole smear campaign against India Walton because she wants to defund the police, right? But she has this, you know, and obviously the defund the police movement is such a hard thing because like people just can't get past those words.
Yeah.
Like
it's so much deeper.
Yeah. It's like, dude, that's all we're saying is we're reallocating funds.
Exactly.
To better like services that will help the community more than the police do.
We're not gonna like take away all your money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And also like the police budgets are like insanely high. Like if you look at the numbers, there's no reason for us to be giving that much money to the police union. It doesn't make any sense. And it's all we're trying to do is take some of that money and put it towards better services that'll help better the community.
Yeah.
But like, you know, nobody's going to hear that. And this whole smear came. And again, and because he had the corporate, you know, the developers and the union in his pockets, like he was just able to like run these fucking crazy expensive campaigns, like advertising and all this stuff. And he won a write-in campaign and that was it. And like, and then it's just like, all right. And then that was just kind of the nail in the coffin for me of being like, Buffalo's just never going to be, it's never going to be what I would hope it could be. As much as I would love to stay here and I would love to move into the city of Buffalo and get involved in local politics and try to, you know, better our transportation systems and, you know, try to build Buffalo. But it's like,
I mean,
I don't think Buffalo's interested in that.
No.
So it's like, that's why. So I go back and forth between having some hope of like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to make a difference, whatever. But then all of a sudden it's like, no, or I can just go to New York where things are already.
It is really,
you know,
it's really nice to be near like-minded people.
Yeah.
I will say, like, any protest that you want to go to, it's fucking there. Like, you will find anything there. Everyone, but there's always like the deep Brooklyn, Staten Island people that are just like very conservative.
Yeah.
So there's always that, but New York in general is like very blue. But I do understand what you're saying as far as like wanting to, or staying in a space to try to, you know, get gung-ho and like get everybody but like on the right side. But it's also, it's really tiring. It gets really tiring.
Yeah.
And it's like really discouraging to just like be hitting wall after wall with these people.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
And that's Buffalo. That's Rochester too. That's just like upstate New York in general.
It's just, it's these working class cities
It
that
is.
just like, and that's my thing is like as far as like my involvement in politics is like, I always lean on the side of who's helping the working class, which is always the progressives. Like the progressives are always doing right, exactly. And like, you know, working on class mobility, talking about the wealth gap, all these things of like trying to help the working class. That's all my focus is. But working class, like maybe half the working class is very split. And the oxymoron that is a working class Republican is insane.
I don't understand it.
It's insane. It's like, and you're
Truly.
always stepping on your own foot.
Truly.
Yeah. And it's like,
Truly.
And that's my whole thing is like, how do you not realize we're being fucked?
They're brainwashed.
Yeah.
They are brainwashed.
Just fully indoctrinated into the American
1000%.
dream. Yeah.
Like the media is so conservative.
Yeah.
So conservative.
Dude.
Did you know that we're going to get real political right now.
Let's do it.
When Ronald Reagan was elected, he fucking, what I forget the name of whatever that was, the Freedom Act or something. And it basically required, like, for every 1 hour of liberal media, it had to be 1 hour conservative. And it was, like, very even. When he threw that out, it went to shit. And now it's, like, all conservative media.
Right. Yeah. Well, that at the same time is when the Murdochs came in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where you get Fox News. Dude. I tweeted about this the other day, but I was at the car dealership getting my car, like I was getting tire rotation, oil change, whatever. Irrelevant to this fucking story. Nobody cares. I was at the car dealership and I was waiting, and they had Fox News on in the like waiting area of the, which I think is insane.
As they do.
Like you're gonna put like as car dealership is like you think like all of your right.
Yep.
Like you think this is what your customer base wants to
Of
watch,
course.
like a car dealership.
That's
Like,
exactly what they think.
it's crazy to me. But I was just like, watch. I was like, all right, I'll pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, dude, like within like 30 seconds, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe
It's scary.
that people, like thousands of people are
Millions.
like, yeah, you're right. Millions of people.
Millions of
Yes.
people.
Millions of people watch this every day and are like, this is
it.
news.
This
This is
is-
the truth.
Exactly.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. And what's funny is that like when I criticize Fox News, when people are like, well, CNN does it too. And I'm like, I'm not watching CNN
Yeah,
either.
CNN definitely does it too.
Yeah, but the Fox, dude, like
Fox
this,
is bad, though.
whatever was on, they were like, the one dude was like, I don't know. I don't remember exactly. They were talking about like the Democrats and like, what Joe Biden's doing wrong and all that stuff. And in the most like, almost like comedic way, like almost like, of course, they somehow like brought it back to 9/11, which is like their whole thing,
Yeah.
And the one dude says something about how, because Joe Biden was meeting with like the Saudi crown prince or whatever about some like oil shit or something. And this dude was like, can we blame 9/11 on the Saudis? Is that okay to say now? And I was just like, what?
Whoa.
Like, dude,
Whoa.
because like a few of them, whoever was part of it, like were Saudi, right? But it's like, but it wasn't the Saudi Arabian
Literally.
government that did that. And then literally one of the other hosts was like, well, if it was, 15 individual Americans that committed something like that, could we blame the U.S. for it? And then he's like, I think so. And I was just like, yo, this is shot, man.
And he's the one on TV
Yeah, absolutely shot.
spewing this to everybody.
It's crazy, man. But
It's
yeah,
terrifying.
It is. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It's just like the working class is stepping on their own feet, and it's just like, and I want to so bad. Like, this is again another thing. This is what I just go back and forth on. Is just like, why? Like, I want to care so much. I want to do everything I can. I want to have conversations with people and like, try to get people on the right side of things and try to get things in motion and like get involved politically locally. But it's like, it's so exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
It's exhausting, dude.
And I get really
it's just
sad
like,
afterwards. I get really sad.
Yeah, man. And
It's not.
I don't know. I reference this documentary on the podcast a lot, but the George Carlin documentary, because George Carlin was a guy who, like, in his later years, he was just like your regular stand-up comedian, and then he was like the counterculture stand-up guy that was like questioning why things are set up the way they are, and then like in the Reagan years, he got very like politically outspoken against Reagan and the Reagan administration, whatever. And from then on, he just like was exposing all the shit that was going wrong with American society. And, eventually got to a point right before he died where he was just like, we're fucked. Like that's just it. Like nothing's ever going to change. Right.
Now.
We're just too far gone. And like, there's not enough, like you have to, at this point, his philosophy, I think, was just like, I think we just need to let everything crash and burn and start over. And it's like, and that's kind of where we're happy, like,
I think about all
that's
the
where
time.
things like right now, like with
It
like
really is.
Roe versus Wade getting overturned on top of everything else that they just overturned. It's just
so
like,
bad.
well, here we go, man. This is what, everybody who, when we elected Trump, everybody who said we were being dramatic and like, said the left was just a bunch of whiny crybabies. Well, here we are.
Here we are.
Yep.
This was the result.
Everything you said that wasn't going to happen, it all happened.
Yep.
And then we're going to have to deal with those 4 years for fucking ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
To tie it back to me starting a business, I also wanted to get out of corporate just because it felt I felt like I was contributing to the bad part of society.
1,000%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never wanted to be in corporate.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, it just feels dirty to me.
Dude, it's so
shisty. Like,
it's so
all around.
fake.
It's so fake.
Dude, everything, like throughout the pandemic, every like video call we were on with like where like the, executives would get on, like the, the president of global sales and all those guys would come on and be like, we're all in this together.
Yep.
And I remember, dude, one time it was so goddamn funny. He was like, the one dude was on talking about something and he like he's like, hold on, I have to go on mute. My gardener is making too much noise behind me in my office in my house right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, sick.
Literally.
Like, yeah.
Like, don't tell me that we're all in this together when you're
Right.
sitting on a yacht in the middle of the fucking ocean.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just like so shot. And like they, they just did like in a reaction to the Buffalo shootings, right? Like, which I will say, like that week, the executives all came into the Buffalo office because we're kind of scattered all over the country. They all came into the Buffalo's office. They brought counselors in. They like,
oh, that's nice.
It was like actually like a good thing. And then like last week, they announced that they're putting a T-shirt out that has like the company name and it's like a choose love thing. Basically the exact same thing the Bills did.
Yeah.
Where it's just very vague. Like, like not stop racism or anything or end white supremacy. It's just like overall. Choose love. Here and also here's our corporate logo on it. And if anybody wants it, you can get it. And like just God. Like me and all my, because like all my team that I work with, like the just the main people that I work with we're all around the same age. So like, we all get it. And we were all just like, are you fucking serious, dude? Like, it's just like, it's laughable. You know what I mean? That's just like, that's what the worst part of corporate is. It's just like, it's all just performative.
It is. Even with like Pride Month and stuff.
It's terrible.
I hate that. I hate it. Let's just throw a rainbow on our logo.
And that was the conversation I was having with a friend of mine who leans a little bit more towards the right side. But again, and it's not like he's a bad person. He's just misinformed. And that's how like everybody in my life is who like, and I'm not going to stop being friends with those people because they're people who I was friends with before this. And I'm going to work. And those are the people who I'm going to try to change their minds. Because those, like, if you're somebody I don't know, I don't give a fuck. I'm just not going to hang out with you. But if you're somebody I've known for a long time, and this is the views you choose, I'm going to have conversations with you. And I'm going to hope that you start to see. So like my one buddy was like, I think a lot of the problem with, I would say most of my family and like, a lot of like Gen Xers really like are like center right people, right? Where they think they're center, but they're really center right. And they think everybody on the left is the same, right? And where I'm like, if we're going by titles or whatever, like I more fall into the progressive, leftist, socialist side of things, and like the establishment Democrats or just liberals, neoliberals, you know what I mean? Like I can't fucking stand them, like the Joe Bidens of the world, like I fucking hate them because it's like they're not going to get anything done, and then they just want everybody to get along. And I always describe them as like, they're like the Republicans' little brother, and the Republicans are their older brother that's just like fucking with them all the time. And instead of just fucking with them back, they're just like, well, will you invite me to can I come with you? And like, can we hang out? And it's like, no, dude, they fucking hate you. Yeah. And they just want you to fail, and they're never going to want to work with you. And every time they get power, they don't give a fuck about what you think. They're just going to fucking do whatever they want. So we have to be more like that. But these establishment Democrats are just such fucking like pussies and just like don't do anything, and they're useless because of that. So it's like, so that's the conversation I try to have with people, that I'm like, listen, I don't like Joe Biden either, but that doesn't mean I'm a right-leaning person. I'm like, I'm on the side of things where I will call out the corporate bullshit. So like the whole point of me rambling on this whole thing is that I had a friend who shared like a meme or something that was like leftists calling out corporations, but then the corporations are just doing performative stuff for Pride Month, was the whole gist of it. And I was like, this should say liberals, not leftists. Like, we're not the same people. We like, when the leftist progressive people know that the corporate Pride Month is all fucking bullshit, and you just slap a rainbow on things, and like that's it. So like, I try to have those conversations, being like, listen, man, we probably agree with more than you realize, and like, you're just not listening because you are just indoctrinated by whatever media you choose to read that tells you everybody on the left is on the same side. And when it's not the case,
it's all media.
And it's tough, man. But I just try to read up on as much as I can, just being as educated as I can and compassionate as I can be on both sides of the aisle. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm not going to fucking, just get rid of people in my life because they think differently. I'm going to work my fucking ass off to try to convince them that they're wrong.
It's like, it's kind of scary up in upstate New York. Just like it really is the difference between New York and upstate New York. Same state, but completely different worlds. And the racism, homophobia, like white supremacy in general up here is
right. Well, I mean, Buffalo is like racist by design.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you ever seen those old maps, like where Buffalo was
redlining.
Yeah, they literally just put a highway
Yep.
dividing the east side of Buffalo, you know? And, you know, not to make any light of the shooting that happened or anything, but like the one silver lining that did come out of that was like people were like, yeah, this is what goes on the east side of Buffalo. This is what happens when you have one fucking grocery store. You remove that grocery store and now you have a food desert. You know what I mean? And the poor just get poorer, and now, you know, and this is how it's always been. But like the media, like the local news doesn't talk about it, you know, like it's just a forgotten part of the city. And now like, and in the most like, again, establishment liberal, let's focus on the wrong thing and think it's doing something good. They're talking about now, well, we shouldn't call it the east side of excuse me. We shouldn't call it the east side of Buffalo. We should call it East Buffalo to make it feel more united with the city.
Gosh.
And it's like, really? That's what you're focusing on? Right. Yeah, no, dude. That is not. No. No one has an issue calling it the east side.
That's the what?
It makes no fucking sense.
That's
and the whole thing
it's
is like East Buffalo is not it's not a neighborhood. It's literally like a whole section of the city, you know, where North Buffalo is more, and South, that was the argument, is that like, well, we have North Buffalo and South Buffalo, why is it West Side and East Side? It's like, because they're not like one neighborhood, they're huge parts of the city, and it's the whole West Side from North to South, and the whole East Side from North to South, you know.
Rochester is very similar.
I believe it.
I don't know Rochester enough to like tell you the geography of it all, but like it's very clear where like people live and the differences between the living situations and like the resources and just everything. And that's just all of upstate New York. It's weird.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you can look at in the history of Buffalo and the divide, where right down Main Street you see the divide of like buildings, like you have like super nice, modern, beautiful architecture on the west side of Main Street, and the east side of Main Street is just all like rundown houses and shit. And like same thing with like, I remember seeing one of like landscaping of like the amount of trees that exist in Buffalo. Same thing, west side of Buffalo, tons of trees, tons of landscaping. East side of Buffalo is nothing.
It's disgusting.
And it's just like it's just been a completely left behind part of the city.
Disgusting.
Yeah, and fucking Byron Brown's not going to do anything about it, and is anybody? You know what I mean? Like, and these are back to the original idea of like, you know, I would love for all of this to try to get fixed. I would love for the 198 to go away. You know, like these throughways that like just pass through. And just like allow this to happen. You know,
would the political environment here push you out? Or is there like too much here that like you love, like you have your family or you have your friends, you have like, you know what I mean? Could it get so bad?
Well, my thing is like the political environment here is interesting because like for the most part in the city of Buffalo, people are, you know, center to far left, you know. South Buffalo is very red, but that's where pretty much all of the cops, like most Buffalo police officers live in South Buffalo.
Weird.
Yeah. I don't know why. Well, South Buffalo is also the very Irish part of Buffalo, and there's a whole history with police and Irish people. So I mean, and it's became. So if people don't know this, the reason the police even got started in the U.S. is when they freed the slaves, they started the police to keep black people in line, and Irish people at this time were second-class citizens. And they were like, all right, Irish people, if you want to like, you know, not be a second class citizen anymore, we're going to make you keep the black people in line. And so police was just like, the original police force was mostly Irish people. And it was like literally set up to be a racist institution and like white supremacist institution, you know what I mean? So, and then, you know, there's like a generational thing where it's like, well, you know, you talk to a lot of cops, it's like, well, the reason they were cops because their dad was a cop and his dad was a cop. So it's just like this idea gets passed. So, and like the South Buffalo Irish heritage, I mean, that's where my dad grew up, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just all these Irish families that they live there because their parents lived there and they, you know what I mean? So it's like, same idea. So I think that has something to do with it, that most of the police officers, I don't know if I also shouldn't say that I know any, like, as if any of this is 100% true. I just like, I know that a lot of police officers live
Yeah.
in South Buffalo, you know, and it is like a more right-leaning part of the city. But and then the suburbs are kind of split. Obviously, the further out you go, the redder it gets, because that's just how it is. Just people, because you don't, you know, you in a city, you're forced to like work with people and understand people, and it just it forces you to have empathy, you know, where like when you're out in the middle of nowhere on a bunch of acres of land and it's just you, you know, there's nothing to do there. So
I love that.
Yeah. So, but like, I mean, you know, right now we're in West Seneca, which is a suburb connected to the city. And I would say West Seneca is probably like 50-50.
Yeah.
Between like red and blue. It's pretty mixed area.
So like if
political.
Would it push you out though if it like got
if it started to go
really,
more right? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know if the city
whatever
would.
Yeah.
You know, but that's my thing is like the city just always feels like it's just gonna just be center.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's most cities, but I mean, I don't know. I've considered moving back here, but I think the biggest thing that keeps me in New York is the diversity.
That's what I love.
That is something that is unmatched.
Yeah.
Like, it is incredible. First of all, I love people watching.
Yeah.
But just New York, you are surrounded by everybody.
Yeah.
Anybody and everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that and that, you know, 100% plays a part in like, you know, tracing back your I don't know if that's the right expression, but like dialing back your racial biases that we all have, you
Absolutely.
know what I mean? And that's, I think that is a tough thing for me here, you know what I mean? It's like it's mostly white people around me, you know, and it's like, and who am I to be, if I'm this, you know, guy trying to like, you know, I don't know, lift up black voices or try to be part of a solution that helps black people, but I don't have that many black people in my life. Like, it's like, what does that say about me? You know what I mean? But it's like, is that, but it's just also just the environment that I'm in, you know. I grew up in a very white place, so that's something that I struggle with, of like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm at a point now when I come home, I'm uncomfortable if it's like all white people around me. I'm very aware now where I'm like,
it's crazy how I do. I mean, even though like that usually is the case, every time I'm in a crowd, that's like the first thing I notice. I'm like, oh, it's all white people here. Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I
think that's a good thing to pay attention to,
absolutely,
though, and be aware of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, and it definitely is hard if you're not surrounded by people who are actively like trying to change something. It's hard to start it yourself. But I'm sure there's got to be stuff in Buffalo that like you can get a part of, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. There's tons of like political organizations and like nonprofits, like our city Action Buffalo, I think, is one. That's really good. What's the one? Black Voices Resisting the Rust, I think, is a different one. I might have gotten that wrong, but it's something like that. Or Black Love Resisting the Rust or something like that. And then you know, the Buffalo DSA is a good one, the Democratic Socialists of America. It's the Buffalo chapter of that. So there's tons of good stuff. My problem is like, if I'm gonna join those, I'm in the suburbs, dude. Like, I'm living in the suburbs with my parents right now. Like, so it's just like, you know, it doesn't feel like, I almost would feel hypocritical being like, I'm gonna come help this city, but then I'm gonna just go back to my home. Like, I want to be, if I'm gonna be in it, I want to be in the city and actually like be part of it and be down there. And
I don't think that like makes it any less
that's fair,
you know, important, or I don't know the right word, just because I mean,
I usually those are the organizations I donate to.
Exactly. This is the best situation for you right now. Like, you're saving mad money, you're like you're living with family, but I don't think that anyone would think you're a hypocrite or anything. You know, like, just helping is enough, right? You know.
I mean, I do, like I said,
I know you do.
I send money places, and that's like the most of what I do.
You're very involved.
You know, if there's protests going on, I usually go to them. I mean, this picture here is literally from the protest that I went to.
Did you take that?
No, my friend Mike Silvestri did. Very talented Buffalo photographer. Just a super cool photo. Sun coming over City Hall with all the people and everything. So, but this is the type of stuff, like, when this happens, it's like, I fucking love this city, dude.
Absolutely.
Like, that the whole city came together for something like this, you know what I mean? And like, there are definitely like movements in Buffalo that are like trying, you know, but it's like, I don't know.
Breonna Taylor should be 27 today. Yeah. We're 27. Oh, I just got the chills. Oh my God.
I mean, you were in New York during that time. Yeah. What was it like?
Oh my gosh. It was protests every day.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I went to one and we walked over the Brooklyn Bridge, and we like stopped, like we literally were like walking through cars. We stopped traffic. Police were there to like make sure nothing, whatever. But that's when also the Antifa stuff was going on. So like everyone was like, make sure you're like watching out for people in like black masks and you know, they're gonna whatever. No, it was just incredible. Like it was so many people, so many protests around the city, and it just felt it felt like everyone in the city was there.
Yeah.
You know, it was just incredible. And I think the beauty of New York too is like if there's anything that happens, there will always be something to get involved.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's in most cities, but New York is just different.
Yeah.
It's just different in the best way.
I agree. So I mean, I think I'll just for a little bit, unless an opportunity comes up, I go back and forth all the time. It's like I'm here. I want to do what I can here. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the shit that like lifts me up, man. Is like I love being, just doing. Not even like, I don't know. It's not like the reason I do it is to feel better about myself. It's just like I love. Like that's just the bonus part of it. It's like I do feel good about doing it, but I love just like. I don't know, doing anything I can to like try to like make a community better. Like, what's the point? What else is the point? My whole thing is what I think about a lot of like when people want to talk about like the founding fathers' intentions and all this shit is like the preamble of the Constitution. One of the first things it mentions is in order to form a more perfect union. Like that should be the goal, man. We should always be trying to move forward as a unified front to help everybody. Like how are we not
like
how did that get
now.
so misinterpreted?
It's like gone. Exactly. That's like not a thing anymore, and it's terrifying. And it just doesn't feel like we're moving in that direction at all.
We've been moving right since the Reagan administration. This country has been moving right, and there's like what's so funny is because like the Republicans or right-leaning people are so good at fucking like manipulating language and like just gaslighting any conversation of like saying that we've been going everything's so left, everything's so liberal now, and it's like no far left people have power and a bunch of far right people have power. That's the difference. You have Bernie Sanders and who has virtually no power because nobody will do anything he says because they think he's this crazy radical old socialist who is like also like the far left just wants like healthcare for everybody and like wants to try to fix our racist systems and stuff, where everybody on the right wants racist and white supremacists to have free speech and they want to control your right to have an abortion and and it's like, and those people have power because it's happening. Your idea, what you're referring to of things becoming too liberal is fucking Hollywood. You know what I mean? And it's like and Hollywood, all they're trying to do is just make content that's more inclusive of people. So, and what's crazy is like you put a black person in Star Wars, and half of the Star Wars audience is like, "Oh, Star Wars went woke." Oh my God. It's like it's a black person, dude. Like, no, it's like in a movie. That's like normal, right? And representation matters, dude. And if you don't fuck with it, then don't watch it, I guess. But just know that you're a piece of shit for that.
Like, how does that affect you in any way?
And that's what and they're right. And that whole thing is literally just to try to help people. It's not trying to force anything on you, dude. I saw this. I actually wanted to show you this yesterday during the wedding, but I was like, I'm not going to get into politics on this wedding day. But this says, young people, here's some slightly different language you can use to be more inclusive. Old people, we are going to burn the entire earth to the ground. Like, that's literally what it is. Like, here's some slightly different language to make people feel like they are included. But that's some crazy radical idea now. And and I just don't get it, man. Like, I just don't get.
They're just so disconnected from the real world. Truly. Like,
and the thing is, like, there's part of it I do understand because, like, because of the internet, things sped up very fast. You know what I mean? And we realized, oh, we've been shitty to a lot of groups of people who there are way more than we think. You know what I mean? Like, I always think of the trans community that it's like, dude, trans people have always existed.
Always.
But like that idea was so hard for people who have who don't get it, like to wrap their brains around that they just shut it out immediately. That it's like, it seems like it's a new idea. But what really happened is that the internet allowed those communities to go, oh my God, I feel like this too, and realize there's way more of them than you think. And all they want is a seat at the fucking table, dude. And it's just because you're not used to it that you have to feel like
you're threatened by it for
right,
some reason.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's even like, and obviously like I mentioned earlier, like I've been doing comedy for 6 months and I love comedy, but for some reason there's this like thing with like these legendary comedians like Dave Chappelle, like Ricky Gervais as well, like these comedians who like think they're doing something by punching down. Like, and they just like, there's oh, you're brave for doing a trans joke. It's like, when did it become brave to make fun of an oppressed group of people? You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything for the world. Like, oh, he's saying what everybody else is thinking. And it's like, that's not brave.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, and you're not doing anything. Like, all you're doing is just like enforcing like society's stigmas that already exist about these people who are just want to exist.
Yep.
Just fucking let them exist, man. I don't get it.
Well, hopefully you won't be that kind of comedian.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I also don't.
I'm sure you're surrounded by that here, though.
Actually, no. The comedy scene in Buffalo is like very, like, I was surprised by like how like accepting it is.
Yeah.
There's my friend Katarina Valentine, shout out Katarina Valentine, who just had her gender conforming or gender what is it called? Gender surgery? Gender define, I don't know what the fucking thing is. I'm sitting here being like, yeah, trans people, I don't know what the right terms are. But she just had, you know, I think it's gender
surgery.
confirming. Is that what it is? Gender confirming
Maybe.
surgery or something? I don't know. But she's recovering. She's doing great. Shout out Katarina. But she's a trans comedian in Buffalo. And she just made it through the first round of Buffalo's Funniest contest. Like, she's super funny. And yeah, and I like, when I first got involved in the community, it was like, it was so cool to see like, oh, there's a trans comedian and like, she doesn't have to belong to an alt scene.
Yeah.
You know, it's like she's just accepted into the comedy scene.
Yeah.
With, you know, these, which is, the scene's mostly dominated by straight white men and like some guys who have been doing it for 10 to 20 years and they're all, you know, accepting of it and everything too, which is so cool to see, you know?
Well, I feel like comedy is such a great way to kind of address those historically uncomfortable topics for people in
and
like
George
the best
Carlin,
way.
George Carlin was the perfect example of that. And that's why he was like the greatest of all time, because he always punched up, you know what I mean? And he would cross the line, but when he crossed the line, he would take the audience there with him.
Be like to teach something. Or
Exactly.
like,
yeah. Where, you know, and the thing is like, I'm not saying you can't make trans jokes. There's a comedian in Buffalo named Jake Sampson. Shout out Jake Sampson. I always tell him too. He has a great trans joke, but it's like, it's not, the trans part is not the butt of the joke. He's the butt of the joke, and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how you unite a room behind you. You know what I mean? So like,
I could never do comedy.
I love it. I'm
I
obsessed
could
with
never.
it. Too. I thought I always wanted to do it, and now I've been doing it, and I just am like,
I've always wanted to too.
I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to open mics every night. Like,
Yeah.
I can't stop. I'm obsessed with it.
How do you do it? Like, how do you? I'm just confused. Like, how do you you just write jokes?
Yeah, you know, I just think a scenario
Yeah.
happens that I'm like, oh my God, that was really fun. I'll give the perfect example. I have a joke about being the gayest of my brothers. And
You said something about this yesterday.
Yeah, and the way I thought about this joke was literally my friend Sarah, who I had on the podcast a few weeks ago. She's a comic, and we were driving one time. We were going to a comedy show together, and she was like, "How many brothers do you have?" I'm like, 5. And she's like, "And none of you are gay?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Not even a little bit?" And I go, "Well, I guess I'm a little bit gay." You know, and that was like, oh shit, that could be a really good bit of like, you know, statistically speaking, like one of us should be gay.
Yeah.
And it's like, and maybe I was the closest we got,
Yeah.
you know, and like, and I go into that a little bit,
Yeah.
but that's how I came up with that, was just like a
Gotcha.
good conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, thinking about things in a funny way. Like
Yeah.
you can turn anything into a funny, and the thing is like, you have to embellish stories too. Like, you know, a story could, a thing I always realized, like, growing up loving comedy, watching comics, like I was like, how do like all these amazing stories happen to comedians? And it's like, well, they happen to everybody. The comedians just find a
just
way
know
to
it-
tell it
yeah,
in a
yeah.
way that's so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, I've thought about doing it just, again, living in New York for 5 years, I have unlimited
bet.
stories.
Yeah.
Unlimited crazy stories.
You just have to figure out the funniest way to tell it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you have to figure out, because like if you tell a story exactly how it happened, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
You have to cut
It's all
shit
about,
out.
like,
you have to add stuff in.
Body motion, too.
Right. Base it on a real experience, but like find a way to tell the story and deliver it in a very funny way. That's
Yeah.
like what it is. Like, and that's one format of comedy is telling stories. There's like, there's like one-liner jokes and like puns and like all these other different things. So,
I just rewatched Broad City.
oh, I
Did
love
you
Broad City.
fucking
Yeah.
love
Big
Broad City.
fan. Yeah.
But to tie it in with that, like, Broad City is the perfect depiction of like a 20-something woman's life in New York
In New
City.
York. Yeah.
In like the best comedic way.
Yep.
And they just did
that's
it
a
so
different
well.
form of comedy. That's
Yeah.
not stand up. That's
Yeah,
comedy
it's like-
writing. and I
exactly.
love that shit too. You know,
Right.
like that's still comedy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm obsessed with the entire art of it. You know, but
Oh my God, you should rewatch Broad City.
I will. Bill Burr just had a new special come out, and speaking of like the George Carlin thing, like, I mean, everybody talks about Dave Chappelle being like the greatest comic of all time, and I think there's an argument for that to be made, but I think I don't know, he's just like, he keeps doing the same fucking dumb shit of like, oh, you can't say anything anymore, but I'm gonna say it. I'm still gonna make, and Netflix is still gonna give me millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna sell out world tours. It's like, this doesn't make sense. This isn't real. This is just, and it's like,
Yeah. I don't
whatever.
know how I
But
feel about Bill Burr.
But Bill Burr, I think, is, at least I think he's the greatest working comic. His new special just came out live at Red Rocks on Netflix. Came out last week, and I watched it, and it is like that George Carlin idea of like, he hits both sides of the aisle, but he does it in such an amazing way. You know what I mean? Like, where like he's still going after privilege. You know what I mean? Like, as much as you may not realize it, like he makes fun. It's like, oh, he's making fun of women here, and it's like, well, no, what he's making fun of is privileged like white liberal women who like try to be offended for other cultures when they never had that happen to them. You know what I mean? Which is a very funny idea and a very funny thing to make fun of. So it's like he does that, and he does he does a good at the end of it, he does a pro-life versus pro-choice debate, and he like hits both and he does it in such a phenomenal way. And that's like exactly, because I mean, my belief is that like comedians are supposed to be like a mirror to society. Like, it's supposed to make fun of, like, it's holding up a mirror to society and making it laugh. You know what I mean? And like being able to understand like the pulse of culture, and then towing that line. And again, when you cross that line, you're bringing the entire audience with you. Nobody's getting left behind. That was George Carlin's whole philosophy. So and that's what I think Bill Burr does really well. So
would you ever do a personal show for the friend group?
I don't know. It's weird performing for people
Yeah,
when
I
you
get it.
do
I get
comedy.
that.
Yeah, or the people that know you. Because it's like, I'm doing an act, and it's like a kind of like,
True.
it's like the guy behind the curtain, it's like, so it's weird. I prefer to do it for like a room full of strangers.
You'd prefer if I like just like showed up and I just happened to see you?
Well, I mean, I invite people out. I want people to come out and stuff, but I think people, if you don't like understand how like the process of like writing and telling a joke and like, I don't know, like, I mean, I invited everybody out to when I did the contest for Buffalo's Funniest, and everybody like loved it and it went really well and stuff. But it's like, but if the weird thing about comedy versus music is like when when Post Prom plays a show, we can play the same fucking songs every time we do a show, and people will still come out because you can do those songs. When you're a comedian and people know your jokes already, and you're coming out and you're still doing the same jokes, it's like it doesn't work the same. Yeah. They're like, oh, I've already heard you tell these jokes, and it's like, but a joke takes such a long time to perfect.
create. Yeah.
So it's like I've been doing comedy for 6 months, and I really only have like 4 or 5 like solid jokes. Everything else I'm still kind of working out, and that's what you go to open mics for. And you try
You,
new
like, test
stuff, and
them.
you like, you know,
Yeah.
rework it. You're like, okay, this part worked, this part got a good laugh, this part didn't. Let's see if we could rework this part. And the hard part about that is the room is always different. So what works someplace won't necessarily work somewhere else. So it's like, you know, there's a lot that goes into it until you get to a place where it's like, okay, this joke works every time telling it like this. We're going to do this. And then when I go do a showcase where I'm going to invite people out, those are the jokes I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So like the people who have already seen me know the jokes I'm going to do. You know, it loses its effect because it's like, oh, I see what you're again.
Absolutely.
You see the guy behind the curtain. You're like, oh, I know it. You're following a formula. You know, but it's like, but that's comedy.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, there's been a couple of, because I go to this Comedy Cellar place quite often.
This Comedy Cellar place, the most legendary
okay, not
comedy club.
Cellar. It's not Comedy Cellar.
Oh, okay.
No. My mind just went there.
Yeah, I was like
No,
the
it's
most
not-
legendary.
I've been there. It's
comedy
cool,
club
but
in
like
New York.
I
yeah.
go to this comedy open mic. There we go.
Yeah.
And I've seen the same comedians, and they'll do the same jokes. And you're
Right.
right. It's like, oh, I already heard that.
Right. It loses
It's still
its effect.
funny,
yeah.
but it's like,
there's magic in doing comedy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like, and when you do, you know, if you watch a magician do the same tricks all the time, eventually you figure out what he's doing. You know? Yeah.
You won't get there.
Right.
You'll get more.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think that's something that like, I'm just cautious about bringing people out because it's like, I don't want to lose the magic. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if I have, my friends are going to come out to every show, you know, if people are going to come out, I want them to understand the art of what's happening here. You know what I mean? And that's like how hard it is to get one joke to work. And that's why I tell it multiple times, because I know it works, because I put in all these hours into making it work, you know?
Speaking of our friends, so the wedding
Oh my
yesterday.
God.
Went to the wedding yesterday.
Shout out to our friends Rory and Julie.
Rory and
who got married
Julie,
yesterday.
now husband and wife.
That was like the funnest fucking wedding ever.
It was. That venue, beautiful.
Asbury Hall, yeah.
Have you been to a show there?
Yeah, I saw Vampire
Yeah.
Weekend there.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous venue, yeah.
It's
So
beautiful.
it's owned by Ani DeFranco, who is a musician. She's
I
a
know that
singer from
last
Buffalo.
name.
Yeah. She was big in the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with her work, but she's from Buffalo, and that's her. She owns it.
Gotcha.
I believe there's like a studio upstairs
Yeah.
that she like records at and shit like
Yeah.
that. But
Well, it was cool. Even like underneath, there was like the
That's-
green
yeah.
rooms and stuff.
Right, so
and-
that's like the 9th Ward is downstairs. That's what they call
Gotcha.
that. Yeah, and there's actually a comedy show there once a month. That's the Babeville. So Babeville, it's got like 3 different names. Asbury Hall, I think, is the whole thing. I think Babeville is the upstairs part. 9th Ward is downstairs, or 9th Ward at Babeville or something. I don't know.
Got you.
Yeah.
What's the upstairs part? The balcony area?
Well, no, just the part where the wedding was.
Got you.
Yeah, I mean, like, as opposed to the underground part.
Got you.
Yeah.
No, it was beautiful. And I mean, they're not the first of our friend group to get married, technically, because Andy and Harley are married.
Right.
But they're the first to like have
like, a big wedding. Yeah.
And that was just, it hit me when they were walking down the aisle, or when Julie was.
Well, dude, so Julie walks down the aisle to a piano version of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, which is like one of my favorite songs of all time. And it's like when that hit, it was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
And then they're saying their vows,
Yep.
and Rory gets choked. He
says-
says, I'm looking for something about like, I can't wait to see you as a mom, become a mom or something. And like
He broke
his
down.
voice like choked in the word mom. And then all the guys, dude, we were like,
all
fuck.
the girls too.
Yeah.
Just tears.
It's just so funny how it's like all of us, you just heard a collective like,
yeah.
our heads went down.
Yeah.
We're all fucking pinching our eyes like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just so aware that we're at that age where
Yeah.
people are getting married and having babies. And
Yeah,
Not-
dude, Johnny was like wiping tears like from his
Aw.
face, like it was so funny. We have such an emotional friend group.
we absolutely do.
Yeah,
I was crying when she was getting ready in the morning.
yeah,
But I think it's truly like, I mean, you've been friends with
Rory since
Rory,
the 7th grade.
yeah, for a long time. I met him in college, but again, we're just like, we're growing up.
Yeah,
You know, it's weird to think about people.
you know,
or,
once in a while things like this happen. You just gotta throw in "Landslide" by
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac and just have a good cry.
and just cry.
Yeah.
Maybe a glass of wine.
Get older. I'm getting older.
Yeah, quivering.
Drinking a bottle of whiskey. Where'd the times go?
Literally.
Yeah.
What I would do to be on the balcony in Fredonia again at your apartment.
Don't even get me fucking started.
That
The balcony was the best.
It was the best. I'm sure most of your viewers have been on that balcony.
I mean, anybody who knew me in Fredonia probably. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in Fredonia, we were talking about it last night. Me and Doug were talking about how it's just like, because I think Michaela was asking, like, because she went to Fredonia, but like I didn't know her, and she was like, "How did you guys all meet?"
Oh,
each
at dinner,
other?
she said,
yeah. So I was like telling the whole story,
yeah,
and we talked about. I'm like, we had this apartment senior year that we just like happened upon. Like I just like happened to go on Craigslist looking, because I was like, we had an apartment. We had a 3-bedroom junior year, but Brendan, my little brother, wanted to move in with us, so I was like, all right, I'll find a 4-bedroom. And I just went on Craigslist one day while I was working and looked up 4-bedroom apartments in Fredonia, and this place had just been posted. Yeah. And it was like this beautiful 4-bedroom apartment. There was a master bedroom, and then there was this balcony that overlooked like the entire like town from like, you know, Water Street, like in Canada way. Like it was just fucking gorgeous. And I just like called the guy. Patio too. Yeah. I called the guy, and was this like bitter old man who like, I don't even want, he ended up selling the place after we graduated. Oh, wow. I think he sold all of his properties after because he hated doing the landlord thing. But he liked me so much for some reason. And so yeah, he gave us the spot, and because like, and Doug and Rory were like so stoked at how nice the spot was. They're like, dude. And my junior year, I had what we referred to as the Harry Potter room. My room was so fucking small. It was like Harry Potter's room under the stairs. It was off of the.
I never saw that apartment.
Junior year, yes, you did. I think I have a video of us in our kitchen on Water Street. 1000% you were there, dude.
Was I?
I promise. I definitely have like videos or pictures of us in that apartment. Yeah. Okay. Fred Fest, we were there.
I wasn't there for Fred Fest.
Junior year?
I wasn't there junior year.
Where were you?
Are you kidding me, Aiden? I was in New York City.
Oh, really?
I left.
I do remember this. It's coming back to me now.
You fucker.
Come on, give me a break.
I left for junior year.
All right, I don't know who's in those videos.
I don't know either.
All right.
But no, I did hear that it was like a completely different.
I totally forgot you left for a year. I apologize.
It's totally fine. I heard your apartment was so different from your senior year one.
Yeah, it was a weird setup, but it was cool. It was because it was a back apartment.
Yeah.
So you like walked in, it was just this giant, not like dining room, I guess. Yeah. It was just like this giant main room that my bedroom was off of. That was this tiny little door. I had to duck to get into it, and all it was in there was a twin mattress and dresser. That was it. That's all you could fit in there. And wow. And then the kitchen was this tiny little like New York style kitchen that was like the oven didn't open all the way because there was a wall in the way, and the fridge door didn't open all the way, and like it was like this small ass kitchen, but the living room had no windows in it because like the living room was like the back of the house, and Rory and Doug's rooms were off of the living room. It was just a real weird setup, but for some reason there was something about it that just was like amazing.
Yeah. The price? Do you remember how much you paid for it?
It was cheap. Yeah. It was like $1,000 a semester or some shit.
Whoa.
Or not 1,000. Wait. No, it might have been 1,000 a semester.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Yeah. That was the cheapest place we lived. Maybe 1,100. I don't know. But then, well, the senior year apartment was $1,200 a semester.
No fucking way.
I'm almost positive. Wait.
Are you kidding me?
I literally don't remember.
Was it $1,200 per person a semester?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. But I think it was.
Do you remember my apartment?
Where was it?
Behind Maria's.
Yeah.
Pizza?
Yo, that apartment was awesome.
The apartment was amazing.
Yeah.
I lived in a 3-bedroom by myself. I got it a month before we went back to school.
Yeah.
And it was $2,400 for the whole semester.
Yeah, we had New Year's there. It was fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$2,400 for 4 months.
Yeah. That's a lot.
For a 3-bedroom.
Well, I guess. Yeah.
And I had it to myself.
Yeah.
Fredonia was different. I mean, there's no reason why it should have been expensive, but like. Right.
Well, I mean, when I say that was expensive, like in the grand scheme of what everybody else was paying in Fredonia, like, I remember like if it was like above like $1,800 per person, I was like, that's an expensive apartment.
Absolutely.
In Fredonia.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's for 4 months. So like,
right. I know. Right.
That's $600 a month.
Yeah. Compared to, here in New York is like insane.
Yeah. But, no, a little less or more.
Yeah. But that apartment that we found senior year, because I had the Harry Potter room the year before, they let me have the master bedroom. So I had my own bathroom, which was nice.
Your bathroom was great.
Yeah. That bedroom was like too big. Like there was no reason for it to be that big. I didn't even I used one side of the room. Yeah. And then it was just this giant open floor.
You had like your full bed, and then just like a whole other section that you could have filled with anything, like a couch.
Yeah, I could have had a full living room in there. Yeah, but I don't know, I just didn't.
Yeah.
But the living room was sick, and then that balcony, man, that's where that's where the best memories happen.
Yeah. Well, the last day after graduation, we were reminiscing on that yesterday.
Yeah.
It was just the saddest day.
Yeah. Senior weekend in Fredonia is fun because everybody goes home. Like all the freshmen through juniors go back, like move home before graduation, because graduation is like the week after, or the Saturday after finals week. So everybody's already gone. And so it's literally, the town is just like the locals who live there, which are not a lot of people, and all the seniors. So it was like we had the town to ourselves, you know, and we lived across the street from BJ's. So it was just, which was our bar that we hung out at and where Pat worked, and Pat lived next door, and then you lived behind Maria's, which is right around the corner, and like Becca lived on Forest, which was right up the street from BJ. Like we all lived within like a quarter mile of each other. Literally. It was insane.
And it will never be like that again.
Well, it was just such a crazy adjustment after graduation when like we all moved back home, and then it's like, oh, we all live far away from it. Not even far, but like not walking distance. Yeah. So it's like where we were hanging out every single day, because it was like, it was a 5-minute walk to any of our places. And then when that was gone, it was fucking hard to adjust. It was like, oh my God, my best friends are not within a 5-minute walk of me anymore, and we're only going to hang out every once in a while. And then, and some of us are going to move to different parts of the country, and like, it's just... We've
done a really good job though at staying in touch.
Absolutely. I feel like we're like like the poster group of like what you're like. There's that like Netflix show Friends from College or something. It's not that great of a show, but like that's how I feel like, the show is like them and like in their 30s, and they all like reconnect and like become like good, all move back to like the same area or something. I could be butchering this. I only watched a couple episodes of it, but
maybe this is what you would hope.
Yeah. It would be. No, I think that was like why I feel extremely lucky that we just had like this super solid friend group. And like, dude,
everyone
last night in the wedding, like Cody's speech, like he mentioned like about like he was talking about Rory. So Rory's brother had mentioned about he made some comment about like how Rory taught him the importance of having a really good friend group. Yeah. And that like was like, cause like now Cody's part of that, like since Rory's bachelor party, like he, he's in our group chat, and he comes to he hangs out with all of us and stuff. And so it's like, that was like, damn, man, like, like we are a fucking solid group. And like, I feel very lucky to have that core group of friends.
Absolutely.
And
we're very lucky.
Very lucky. Yeah.
We're very lucky.
Yeah.
To even like continue to like each other.
Right.
Yeah,
for real.
And I would love to, so a couple years ago I had that cabin weekend.
That was
I have a great family cabin, like kind of like 2 hours away from here. I would love to make that a yearly thing. Yeah. It's hard.
It is.
There's no like running water.
Right. Yeah, it's fine. Just go there for 2 days.
Yeah. But I would love to like be that type of group of friends where we do like a big trip every year.
Yeah. Well, one of my like goals in life is to have like a cabin in the woods. Yeah. Or like ideally I would love like a lake house, just to like a getaway spot, So if I ever bring that into fruition, I'll get one with running water, and we can do it there. You
start your own business.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I got to pay off these fucking student loans, man. That's
very true.
That's the start.
That's very true.
But we're chilling, man. We've been talking for quite a bit here, so we can wrap this up. I know you got to get back to. That's misleading. It's been an hour 14, not 2 hours.
Not 2 hours 14.
So it's so stupid for some reason. It says like hour 2, like you're on your second hour.
Oh.
So, but it's like that means it's been an hour and I don't know how to change it. It doesn't make any sense.
At least you know what it is.
Yeah, it's very misleading.
That's all that matters.
I know you got to get back to Rochester.
Yes.
So thanks for coming on, and
I'm
so happy that things are going well.
Yeah.
This weekend was a ton of fun, and maybe I'll end up in New York sometime. Well, I'm going to be on tour in September, and I'll be in New York.
Yeah.
New York's the last date. Yeah, I think so.
Well, let me know, because last time I missed you.
All right, I will.
Thanks, Aiden.
Thank you.